I'm Lisa Capalla. Welcome to Where's Wilmington, your local cable access show where we talk about what's going on in your community and beyond. And today I have the pleasure of being with the author of this nifty little book here called The Possible Dream. And next to me is Rick Froton. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Thanks
Lisa.
for coming today.
Thank
so
you.
Tell us a little bit about this book and how it came to fruition. And if you would, backtrack a little bit about your history. I know you're a local Wilmington boy, so to speak. So tell us all about your life up till you wrote this.
Okay, born and brought up here. My father was born here, so technically I'm a townie.
Right.
That's one of the things. Went to school here, played a lot of sports, played on an undefeated football team.
Right. And you played for a famous team, too. Didn't you play for the Red Sox?
I played in the minor leagues for the Red Sox after that, yes. Right. I ended up hurting my arm and I got out of baseball, and I found that I continually gained weight. And I went on a lot of diets, and I tried this one and I tried that one, and nothing seemed to work. I'd always, the weight would always come back on.
So let me just stop you there. So going from being a guy who was in really good physical condition, and then noticing over time, as all of us, or a lot of us, I should say, tend to do, the weight just kind of creeps up. But you found that because you had the injury, you couldn't exercise like you had, so it probably was escalating a little more, I would guess.
I never really liked exercising. I exercised only to compete in sports.
Okay.
That's basically the only reason I did it.
So once the sports equation was removed, then the weight gain happened.
Right. At age 47, I played my last game of softball because I was continually getting injuries because I was overweight all the time. I was pulling muscles, hamstrings, you name it, ankles, knees. And then the weight just continually come on until I was 58 years old, and I got on a scale one day at work, and I was 263 pounds.
And how tall are you?
6 feet.
Okay.
And I just said, oh my God, what is going on here? So.
A lot of us have had that conversation with ourselves. So what did you decide to do about it?
Well, I went to the doctors, and I was having a conversation with him. We were talking a lot about, he says, you should probably lose 40 pounds. I says, okay, right. Okay,
yeah,
I know that. How do you do that? Could you help me?
Right.
So we started talking about calories, and before I had always gone on diets, but it never focused on calories. It was always different kind of foods you had to eat.
Okay, like the grapefruit diet or the soup diet or what have you. Okay.
This time I looked at calories, and I set up a plan. First of all, I found out I was eating 4 meals a day. That was not good, and that immediately I had to, get rid of that 4th meal.
Okay, and I think we've talked about how nighttime eating was kind of an issue a little bit.
Nighttime was an issue
for a lot of us.
It's an issue.
That's the 4th meal for most of us.
Right. So I set an 8 o'clock time limit. I said I never ate after 8 o'clock, no matter what.
Wow.
Okay, and it helped a lot.
Right.
And the first 3 weeks, the weight just poured off. Okay, and I got excited.
Sure.
I said, wow, this can work. So I just continued with the plan that I set up. I just went to the supermarket. I read the back of the packages. I was careful of sodium because my family has a history of blood pressure. And I went, anything on in this diet, weight loss plan, excuse me, you can be bought in any supermarket.
So you're not really reinventing the wheel here. What you did was you looked at all the information that was available to any of us,
yes,
and you put it into a nice, small, easy to read, easy to understand, easy to use format. That's what this book really is.
But I based it mostly on the psychological part of weight loss because there are thousands of books out there will tell you what to eat.
Right.
Okay. This one here focuses on how do you do it.
Well, how do you do it?
Okay. What you have to do is, first of all, one of the important things in the book, and you read the book, so you know this here.
Yes, it was excellent, by the way.
Right. You have to take a look at your anxiety closet or your skeletal closet, because I think a lot of that comes back to us and affects us, either consciously or subconsciously later on in life.
Meaning the reason why you're eating. Okay.
Exactly. It causes, alcoholism, drugs, gambling, So the way I look at it is, we have to somehow, and I know it's not easy, forgive people that have done things against us, or forgive ourselves for things we've done to others, and get out, because if you don't, you get stuck in a rut, and you stay there, and it causes all of these problems in life.
So you're saying that your particular issue with food was like an addiction for you?
Yes.
We're just going to speak to what
Absolutely.
you have found.
Yes.
And so when you started losing weight, did you find that the issues were coming up and you dealt with them then as they came up? Or did you have to change your mindset completely?
I changed my mindset completely. In fact, to make this successful, you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you view, select, and consume food, especially how you view food. Because when you're standing in that supermarket and getting ready to take something off the shelf, there's a lot going on there.
Right.
Okay? A lot inside your head. You know, there's a lot of decisions being made. Or if you're sitting in a restaurant and you're looking at the menu and you're trying to decide what you want to eat. That's where the rubber hits the road.
And let's face it, you know, the marketing techniques of the supermarket, you walk in, what's the first thing you see? All the cookies and pies.
Cupcakes,
They're on
right,
sale too,
cakes,
which is even
pies.
better. And then when you go to a restaurant, you can see everybody's food around you and everything smells really great. And if
Right.
everyone else is ordering pizza and fries, you're not going to want to get a salad. So how do you combat that feeling of depravity? I would guess feeling deprived. How do you combat that?
Well, basically, you just have to, you know, decide what you want in life. You know, I mean, your hopes, your dreams, your pride are all at stake here. You know, and you just have, once you set up that plan, and you have to stick to it. You know, and there's a lot of things involved. You have to learn how to say no to yourself. That's very difficult. You know, a lot of things, little things turn into big things. And I give the example of the little leaguers. You know, when you cross those white lines, you know, to walk to the mound, you have to believe that you can throw strikes or you're not going to make it.
Right.
You know, there's all these little slogans that, you know, that you saw in the books that come up, and you have to remember them. The frog in the water. You boil it slowly, and it doesn't even. Food happens so slowly, so insidious.
Right.
It just keeps coming on. You don't notice it, and all of a sudden, it's there, and you say, "What happened?"
Right.
Right. And it's such an innocent thing, you know. It's food.
Well, I mean, we have to eat to survive, so it makes it kind of tough.
Right.
All the other vices, you can remove them and still lead a great life. But you have
Right.
to have food, so
Right.
that's kind of the rub there. So once
Right.
you got to your goal weight, which you've stayed at for how long?
6 years.
That's great.
Right.
How did you maintain that? Because I think most of us that have dieted, you lose the weight for a while, it comes back. How do you really maintain what you've got?
Because I set up a lifelong weight loss plan, not a diet. Diets begin, diets end. Diets, you're eating food other people are asking you to eat. When you set up your own plan, these are foods that you're going to like, and you're going to find you're going to stick to them. I eat the same foods all the time, and I like everything I eat. So that helps me to
maintain
right,
what
to
you've
maintain.
got.
Sure.
What would you give to advice to someone out there struggling with this issue of weight loss and maintaining, you know, good eating plans and so forth? What would you really say to them that you feel is the crux of what you're really trying to get
Okay,
across?
one thing I would definitely say to them is, you know, you have to ask yourself, what kind of quality of life do I want to have when I reach my middle age, in my senior years? Do I want to be able to walk? Do I want to be able to, do I walk with a cane? Do I want to be able to travel? Do I want to be able to play with my grandchildren? These are things you have to start thinking about now, before it's too late.
Right.
Diabetes, pharmaceutical nightmares. I went to a wake recently of a company I work for. People were on 11, 12, 13 different pills.
Right.
You know, and that's what happens. If just, you know, take a look at what you're doing now. You know, investigate. It can be done. But you know, you have to have patience.
Right.
It takes patience, patience, patience. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. There are no magic.
Right. And you didn't gain 50 pounds overnight. That
Right.
takes time, too.
Right. There are no magic bullets. It takes time. But little things turn into big things. Okay? That's in every facet of our life, if you think about that.
That's true.
Right?
Why did you call the book The Possible Dream? How
I
did you
call
come
it
up
The
with that
Possible
title?
Dream because I played with a lot of the impossible dream Red Sox in the minor leagues. Played with Tony Conigliaro. I played with George Scott, Joe Foy, Billy Rohr, Jerry Moses. I was actually in spring training with almost all of them as rookies. Okay? I was fortunate to Ted Williams was there for a couple of years too, and a lot of big, you know, well-known Red Sox people. So I thought that was an appropriate name because it is a possible dream. You know, it can happen. You know,
It's
you just-
achievable.
right, if you just have the patience to let it happen.
How long did it take you to get your ideas and your life plan into this book form? How long did that take?
It took me approximately a year of collecting thoughts, okay?
Wow.
Right. I just sat down and I collected thoughts. That's you know, I guess that's how you do it. And then you put them, you know, together, and then you put them into chapters, and you decide which chapter should go where and things like that. But I did an 8-month study. The way I look at it, by losing 50 pounds in 8 months. But actually, that book has got more of a lifetime study of thoughts, in ideas, and experience in it.
Why did you really write the book? Why, seriously?
I
mean,
wrote
the
the-
obvious reason would be because you want to help people,
I
but
wrote
really
the-
why?
I wrote it because I saw an article one day that said 2/3 of the country is either overweight or obese.
Right.
Right. They did a 30-year study, 3 professors from Boston University, and they found that 6 out of 10 women and 9 out of 10 men, once they had no problem until they reached middle age, had a weight problem. And I saw that and I said, wow, maybe I should put some thoughts together and see if I can help some people.
What do you think makes your book different than any of the myriad of other periodicals and
Absolutely, the
books?
psychological factor. There's thousands of books out there that will, you know, that have recipes and, you know, they tell you what to eat and everything. But it's really, the hard part is really, how do you do it?
Right.
You
It's
have to
sticking
really
with it.
think about it, and you have to, you know, and all those little slogans and phrases I put in there, you have to remember those things, you know?
For when the tough times come.
Yeah,
When the parties come and the holiday season comes.
exactly.
Anything final you'd like us to know? Rick Froton, author of this amazing little book called The Possible Dream.
I'd just like to say that it can be done. I was 58 years old when I started it. I know it seems impossible, but it's not. If you sit down and you set up a plan and you investigate what you're reading, this can be done.
Excellent.
Right.
What I liked about the book is that it was a quick read and that it was very common sense.
Well, that was the other thing. Most of the books on the market are very, very long. They're hundreds of pages.
Right,
And people, they don't want to do it. They get turned off.
right.
This here is very brief and concise and to the point.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And we can get this at local bookstores in the area? Or it's from the website?
You can get it on the website, or you can call me right now.
Excellent, and we'll put that website information up
Okay.
on the screen. Thank you, Rick, for
Thank
writing
you.
the book and for being
Thank
with
you,
us.
Lisa. Thank you
Stay
very
right
much.
there. We'll be back with more of Where's Wilmington. I'm Lisa Capalla, and our next guest will be Cindy Gittlemen, and we're going to talk about stress management, which is a really good dovetail to what we've been talking about already with Rick. So stay right there.
Oh no! Bonsai Cat is attacking the village! Mighty Bonsai Cat is stalking before the final kill. We'll never get out of here alive if he sees us! We'll never escape in time. Ah! Medic! Medic! Is this the end of civilization? Mighty Bonsai Cat waits no more! Ah! With one flick of the tail, it's all over!
Colonel, where's that airstrike ordinance?
The bombers are useless against Bonsai
Think of all the
Cat.
fun you can have with an adopted pet. Contact your local shelter or pet adoption center.
Hello, I'm Casey from Girl Scout Troop 799, and you're watching WCTV, Wilmington Community Television.
Hi, I'm Lisa Capalla. Welcome to the second half of Where's Wilmington? And as promised, I have Cindy Gittlemen with me here. We are talking about stress reduction. I can't wait because I need some of that. So welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Tell me a little bit about what you do and how you got to being the owner or founder of Sunrise Mindfulness.
What I do is I run an 8-week stress reduction program. It's based on Dr. John Kabat-Zinn's work at the University of Massachusetts Medical Center. He began the mindfulness-based stress reduction program in 1979. And at this point, there's a worldwide following of the use of mindfulness for stress reduction.
When you say mindfulness, can you explain, and I should also say Cindy is a licensed educational psychologist, so she knows what she's talking about. Mindfulness, when you say that, what I think of is actually training your mind or developing your mind to think of things differently, or what is it really that mindfulness means as it relates to your program?
Mindfulness is about awareness and being aware in the present moment of whatever's happening in your life, and living with a sense of interest and curiosity, and experiencing what's happening in your life with a sense of overall acceptance.
Okay.
Mindfulness is also about living in the present. So oftentimes we're, just kind of dwelling in the past and ruminating over things that have happened in the past, or we're thinking about the future, obsessing over what needs to be done, things that have to get done, or something that's coming up.
Sounds very familiar to me. I do both of those things a lot.
Join the club.
Yeah.
So does everyone.
So I know that Oprah and other talk show hosts have talked about living in the present
Yes.
moment, being still, being one with the breath,
Yep.
and really focusing on your life. How do you get yourself, especially in our culture, which is so oriented towards instant gratification, get it done now, quick, quick, quick. We don't really have, I think, what other cultures have, I would say, with the mindfulness piece.
Mm-hmm.
How do you train or retrain yourself in a culture that's based on hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, to be in that one moment sense?
Well, we have a variety of mindfulness practices. One of the most fundamental and core practices of mindfulness is mindfulness meditation.
Okay.
And meditation is simply just stopping. It's the opposite of doing. You can even call it non-doing.
Right.
And just, stopping and paying attention on purpose to an object, such as the breath. You had mentioned using the breath. So you might sit for a while to still yourself and just focus on the feeling of the breath coming in and out of your body. There's also mindfulness practices that involve walking, a walking meditation where you actually feel your feet making contact with the ground. We break down walking into micro movements. We use yoga, gentle stretching also, to develop awareness of the body and any physical sensations of tension or any signs in the body that we need to stop and slow down. We also use something called the body scan, which is a way of just kind of beginning at the feet and progressively moving up through all the different parts of the body and noticing whether or not there's any tension or tightness.
Okay, so basically what your 8-week program does is gives us tools to put in our toolbox to use for different stress scenarios.
Yes.
For example, I suppose if you were at a family gathering and some tension was arising, never happens, but if that were to happen, you would then say to yourself, okay, what of the techniques can I use? Can I get away and take a walk? Could I do a body scan? Can I just be present in this moment? Is that what your goal is, to give us as individuals different tools to use to cope?
Absolutely. And also, one of the things about mindfulness is accepting what's happening in each moment.
So how do you ever get to doing that?
So if you're in a family situation where there's a lot of tension, just observing it and being aware that there's all this tension is a way of stepping back and not involving
Okay.
yourself in
So
it.
remove the emotional investment that you have in it and be more of an observer.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. How long does it take to learn to do that? And
Well-
as a practicer of this yourself, it must have taken you a while to get there. I don't think we're born that way. Are we born mindful?
Well, we
and then
aren't-
change, or how does that work?
Well, actually we are. If you think about babies and infants, what do? They look and observe, and they're just constantly alert and attentive to every little thing because everything is so interesting and new. So we actually are born with this capacity to just observe and take things in, and without judging it or criticizing it, but just noticing what's happening. I think it changes. As we get older, we're taught different rules, and also we live in a culture that really doesn't foster particularly allowing oneself to have their experiences. So for example, you might go outside and it's a beautiful day, but you're so busy trying to get someplace, like get to work on time, you don't even notice that the sun is shining or that the flowers are in bloom. How often do people stop when they see a flower and actually smell the flower?
Right.
So this is the positive. And on the other side, when we have a negative experience in our lives, or we feel stress or tension or hurt or pain, what do? We try and stamp it out. As the first sight of discomfort, we are taught in our society to just block it out
Sure.
and numb ourselves
Or
to
take a
it.
pill, or have a
Something.
drink, or
Absolutely.
eat something,
Right.
right? All of our cultural cues are to do those
Right.
things.
When in the mindfulness practice, we actually learn how to sit with feelings of discomfort and just see them for what they are, accept that they're here, and not try to micromanage our lives and control every little thing that goes
Wow.
on.
If this can be done, which it must be since you're doing it, this sounds like it would be nirvana.
It's
Do you
wonderful.
see a big difference from folks that come in the beginning, the first class, and then at the end, do you see a big change in if they're applying the techniques, of course, and if they're ready, do you see a big change in how their lives are after you've worked with them?
Well, what I've noticed is that people come in with a certain amount of stress and or angst in their lives about something, or even pain, chronic pain.
Right.
And oftentimes when they leave at the end of the 8 weeks, they report seeing things differently, because we're also talking about changing the way you view the world as well.
The guest before you was talking about a mindset and about
Yes.
weight loss, and how he really had to change his focus, had to shift the dynamic or the paradigm, I guess you would call it,
Yeah.
in his mind about what food meant to him, and more look at what he wanted for his future. Look at how he would want to be able to walk and be with his grandchildren and so forth. So those are some of the things that you teach. Do you think 8 weeks is long enough, or do you think it's too short?
I think 8 weeks is a good amount of time. The program runs 2.5 hours once a week for 8 weeks, plus there's a longer practice session, about 4 hours or more depending on the location, between the 6th and 7th classes. So there are about 28 hours of instruction altogether and class time altogether. And it's really a great program. The thing of it is, though, it's not a quick fix.
Right.
It's a way of life.
When you call it a practice,
It's a
when a doctor
practice.
practices or yoga practice, you're always going to be working on it. We're always going to be evolving. New things are going to be coming into our lives.
Yep.
When you first learned about mindfulness, how was your mindset at that time? Did you have to make a lot of changes to get to the calm, serene being that I see now?
Well, it's funny because one of the first assignments in the first class was to just go home and sit for 5 minutes without doing anything.
Yeah, I could never probably, well, maybe eventually, but certainly not today. 5 minutes, maybe 2, maybe.
Exactly. I had the same experience.
Right.
I mean, 5 minutes, and I
Because
thought
that's a long time.
if you're not used to just sitting still, it's a very long time. So I was looking at the clock thinking, oh my God, it's only been 2 minutes. Oh my God, it's only been 3 minutes. When is this going to end? You know?
Right.
Well, by the time the class was finished, I could sit for 45 minutes straight.
Wow.
And I've had experiences where I've actually gone someplace and spent a whole day, just kind of sitting and walking and
Right.
sitting and walking.
Because time is a human invention, really. Time is really what we use to mark things. So if you can get back to that sense of no time, timelessness, it must be a very comforting space to be in. And I would think it would be a good place to be if you were experiencing stress.
It's nice. I can't say enough about mindfulness and how it can help people in their lives.
Do you feel it's something that folks don't know enough about? I mean, yes, we hear so many Zen things, or we catch little blurbs on shows, a 5-minute little thing here, or you read something in People, or something like that. But do you think that really we need to have more of this available to people, and it's really a hidden gem that people don't know about?
Absolutely. And, it's funny because lately, within the last year or two, I've noticed a lot more articles. There's a CNN article on mindfulness. There's an article in this month's Computer World about how certain companies are rated in the top, 1 or 2 who've brought mindfulness into the workplace.
I would think insurance companies should get right on the bandwagon and make this a covered benefit, because it's got to affect your physiology.
Absolutely.
Heart attacks,
Yes.
diabetes, all kinds of things could maybe be manageable. Maybe
Yes.
you can't cure them, but they could be manageable or more manageable if you were to undertake this kind of thing. What do we need to look for? Because I'm sure there are a lot of other programs out there, maybe not quite as good as yours, different than yours, but what do we look for? When you Google mindfulness, you're going to find a plethora of classes and things that you can take. So what do we as the consumer look for when we're trying to decide who we should go to for a class like this?
Well, I think one of the things about mindfulness-based stress reduction is that there is a I wouldn't say so much a certifying organization as a training organization.
Okay.
The Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare, and Society is part of UMass Medical School. And if you were to check out their website, you would find practitioners who've been trained
Okay.
there. So one thing to look for is where's the person done their training.
Okay.
Another thing to look for is what specific tools you will be given, what kinds of things will you be learning, what techniques and strategies,
Okay.
because you want to be able to walk away from whatever experience you have with something that you can say is concrete. I
Right.
learned this, I can do this.
Something usable.
Something usable.
You know, I'm thinking a 1-hour lecture probably isn't going to do it.
Right, and as part of my program and those of us who teach mindfulness-based stress reduction, we have CDs that we give as part of the class, which guides you through the various practices. We also have exercises that you will do at home, so there's homework.
Right.
You know,
So that's good because you have to live your
Yeah,
real life outside of the bubble.
absolutely.
So
Yeah, so there's, you know, it's actually a pretty demanding program because you're required to do about 45 to 60 minutes of home practice each day.
But I would think that you probably get a lot of type A personalities, so they won't mind doing the homework. I'd be
Well-
like, give me something to do. That would be great.
Not always, not
Okay.
always.
How do people find you?
You can find me. I have a website. It's
Okay.
www.sunrisemindfulness.com.
Okay.
They can find me at the University of Massachusetts Medical School's website. I'm in
Okay.
their directory.
Excellent.
You can also find me by telephoning me. My phone number is 978-657-7730. And right now I'm offering the programs in Reading. So this is the current location,
Excellent.
which is right next door.
And do you do private individualized sessions as well as the classes, or are you currently only doing the classes?
Well, I'm available to do individual sessions if for some reason somebody just feels very uncomfortable in a group setting. The groups that I run are very small. I had one that was, 6 or 7 people. I've had as little as 3 people, so it's kind of intimate. It's not this overpowering 30 people in a room.
Because I would imagine sometimes emotions can come up
Absolutely.
when you're doing these kinds of things. So I would imagine that you'd have to feel like you were in a safe environment. And I
Yes.
feel very safe just talking to you, so I'm sure everybody that comes to see you will feel that way. Anything else, Cindy Gittlemen, you'd like us to know before we close today?
Can't think of anything.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us. Folks, check this out. It's called Sunrise Mindfulness, mindful stress-based reduction. Is that what we're saying?
Mindfulness-based.
Mindfulness-based stress reduction.
reduction.
And I'm not going to get stressed about that I didn't get that right.
That's fine.
Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed today's program. I'm Lisa Capalla, and just remember that the next time somebody asks you, where's Wilmington, you tell them right here and right here on WCTV. We'll see you next time.